Hey, a contract of employment. The following contract is made between and entered into the Helldivers Division of the Super Earth Army Forces. They are referred as to the Enlistars. Individual who has successfully completed the permanently Helldiver training as set forth in Exhibit A of the Super Earth Armed Forces recruitment and the part of the hereby referred to as the enlisted. The following contract entered into willingly, and the enlisted confirms that they are ready authority into enter into such agreement at this time, being of sound mind, body, of legal age, and of citizenship grade E or above. Wow. Services. The enlisted shall perform the services outlined.
Keep moving through the training course at this time.
Shut up.
Over.
The enlisted shall perform the services outlined in Appendix A in accordance with the operational directives identified by Super Earth High Command and the President of Super Earth, the Democratic Council of Super Earth, accredited employees of the Ministries of Super Earth, accredited representatives of the parties aforementioned. Aforementioned in clauses 1.1.3, 1.1.v, accredited representatives of the command structure and authorized command structure may be services of established an apprentice, and a copy of them might be required for the authorities of the CF credit. Admission Corps with a hard copy of the apprentice and delivered to the requesting enlisted within 5 to 10 business years. Oh, nice. 1.2. The services performed by the enlisted or the enlister shall include but not limited to the active combat operations, which may include but shall not be limited to raids, deployments, invasion. What is it? Sorties, forays, assaults, blitzes, incursions, onslaught, liberation, raisings, flattenings, and nukings. Non-combat operations, which may include but shall not be limited to parades, interviews, signings, and appearances, execution, both summary and otherwise, interplanetary transportation, including the escort of civilian or democratic vessels, and any activities deemed necessary to pursue the aim identified by the enlister and the authorized command structure. In order to enable full and complete enactment of these services, the enlisted are hereby authorized to employ lethal force, non-lethal force, non-lethal non-force, and lethal non-force, and to be employed at the discretion of the enlisted. The enlisted may not subject in whole or part any of the duties requested of them by the enlister. The services shall be performed by the enlisted at locations identified by the enlisted, the authorized command structure, in order to enable the completion of the services in the efficiency and the timely manner. The enlisted will be entrusted with the command of a Class 6 Super Destroyer Series Crew interplanetary combat vessel, hereby referred to as the Super Destroyer, upon the termination of the contract for the enlisted, referred to Section 5 termination. Command of the Super Destroyer will be transferred to the next eligible enlisted in order to in the order designated by the serving shipmaster. The enlist tech, the authorized command structure.
Move through the training course quickly as possible. Thank you. Have a good day.
No. Accredited representatives of the parties enlisted in clauses 1.3i, 1.3iii. The heirs, successors, and allies of the enlisted have no right, claim, or interest in the ownership or command of the super destroyer, and the actions of the enlisted result a loss, damages, or impunity of the super destroyer requiring a reparative or restorative action. The cost of such repairs shall be subtracted from the martyrdom payment due to their heirs or successors of the enlisted. The enlisted will be responsible for the purchasing, maintenance, replacements, and improvement of the equipment used for the provisions and services. If the contract of the enlisted is terminated due to the conditions outlined in 5I, absence of pulse, the equipment purchased, maintained, replaced, and improved by the enlisted shall stay with the destroyer and shall be made available for the next Helldiver to command the vessel. Remunerations 2.1 for the performance and the services outlined within the schedule set forth by Appendix A. By Appendix A, the Helldiver shall receive monetary compensation for services rendered. The compensation shall vary in line with the services.
Excuse me, please. Move through the training course quickly as possible. Thank you. Have a good day.
Rendered services, the compensation shall vary in line with the services performed. The enlisted reserves the right to, at any time, with no prior notices, to make amends to the schedule of payments. The enlister acknowledged that the position of the enlisted Helldiver is classified by the Super Earth Ministry of Employment as exceptionally patriotic duty. Accordingly, upon commencing of the delivery of services of the immediate family members of the enlisted, defined as parents, siblings, heirs, and successors, shall receive 4.5 citizen points to be allocated at the representatives representatives
Excuse me, please.
discretion.
Move through the training course quickly as possible.
The
Thank you.
compensation
Have a good day.
shall not be transferable and may not be exchanged for cash equivalent. 2.3. In the event of a continuation of the alive status of the enlisted in a course of the rendition of services, a martyrdom payment shall be made to the immediate family members of the enlisted, defined as parents, siblings, heirs, and successors, minus any dispensations outlined in section 1.3. Oh, of course, section 1.3 is right here. Number 3, the confidentiality and classified materials. 3.1. In the course of the rendition of services, the enlisted is likely to become exposed to information of strategic importance, including but not limited to maps, mission briefings, internal procedure documents, details of products, prices, and seasonal discounts. The enlister and the enlisted agreed that any and all privileged information, collectively classified materials, viewed by the enlisted shall be maintained in the strict as secrecy by the enlisted, with the reasonable efforts made to avoid the transfer, leakage, dissimulation, publication, convergence, and /or sweepings of the classified materials, and shall be provided in the formats which are traceable to the enlisted. And the event of transfer, leakage, dissimulation, publication, conveyance, and or seepage, the enlisted agrees to return any and all data, documents, directories, manuals, maps, notes pertaining the classified materials upon termination of the contract and request by the enlister. Any information made...
Please keep moving through the training course at this time. Over.
Where was I? Any information known to be made to the enlisted outside of operations parameters which are not considered customly known to the general citizenry and/or which are not known to the enlisted prior to commencement of the agreement shall, for purposes of clarity, be considered controlled classified materials. For the access of the controlled classified materials, explicit advance written consent must be obtained by the enlisted. To read the terms and condition in fully shall be considered a breach of clause 3.2.
Please keep moving through the training course at this time. Over.
Number 4. Interdempification. 4.1. Unless otherwise stated, the enlisted shall be solely and exclusively responsible for any and all damages, harm, liability, loss, costs, expenses, craters, atrocities, and crimes, civil, uncivil, war, caused, created, and generated during the course of the rendition of services. The enlisted hereby disindemnifies the enlister and the authorized command structure, including but not limited to any employees, representatives, heirs, and successors against any cost. Against any costs, challenges, losses, damages, or expenses without limitations.
Move through the training course quickly as possible. Thank you. Have a good day.
Arising from or relating in any way to the renderization of services by the enlisted. 4.2. Any damage sustained by the enlisted, whether representative or corporal, including but not limited to incineration, evisceration, spinal separation, vaporization, crushing, freezing, burning, decapitation, paper cuts, and explosion, contusion, removal of arms and or limbs, addition of arms/or limbs, dizziness, nausea, shortness of breath, and/or death shall not be considered the responsibility of the enlister. 3.4. The enlisted shall not hold the enlister in whole and part responsible for whether they return whole or in part.
Please keep moving through the training course at this time. Over.
The enlisted is more if the enlisted is mortally wounded, such as medical attention shall not be physical or financially justified. The enlisted expenses seditious, dangerous, or traitorous thoughts, opinions, actions, or sentiments by the enlister for any reason, notice of the clause for termination is not required. The provision of section 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6 shall survive termination. General provisions. 6. 6.1. The enlisted consent to personal information, including but not limited to biometric, patriotic, and demographic data,
Please keep moving through the training course at this time.
to be
Over.
collected and processed by the enlister, the authorized command structure, appropriate agents of the Super Armed Forces, and the Democratic Council. The enlisted consents of the personal samples, not including but not limited to flesh, bones, blood, to be collected and processed by the enlister, the authorized command structure, appropriate agents of Super Earth Armed Forces, and Democratic Council. The enlisted provisions unequivocal and irrevocable consent can be used for experimental weaponry, technology, and narcotics. And the contract shall be considered binding upon being read in whole or in part. For the purposes... I can't read that. For the purposes of the surveillance of doubt, the enlisted a second within 16 meters of a copy of and interpreted the cost of the contract read. Nice. Sounds pretty straightforward.